Hello again from PoorManSurvival.com. I'm going to be doing a kind of a re-review of a knife I did a video on a while back, and then I had to take the video down. We had some YouTube issues. So, this is another knife in that budget, I don't want to call it cheap, but really inexpensive Karambit fighting knife video, series. So what we're going to talk about here today is a Tac-Force Speedster model. There's love and hate about these. A lot of people hate them. Some people like them. They're really inexpensive. I mean, in the under $15 range on Amazon.com is usually where you can touch these. This one's in the multicam, more of a bitmap pattern, but they call it their multicam. Does have a halfway decent pocket clip. It's stiff, but it works well. There's your standard Karambit ring. These knives are spring assisted, so like with a touch they flick right out. Fairly short blade. They do have a finger guard here, okay. And that's if you're doing the standard grip. Remember, Karambit's, meant to be fought in a reverse grip. So it does have, for a very inexpensive knife, has a nice curve to it, and it sticks out real well. So, let's see what we got here for markings. So this does say, if you can get it in focus, which is always a tough part, high carbon steel, USA designed, obviously made in China. On the other side it says Tac-Force Speedster. So, a lot of jimping along the spine, along the grip here, jimping right up the edge of the blade. So if you were doing it in a forward grip, you can put a little pressure on it, and then of course right in here, this is going to keep you from getting cut, and you have your ring. Karambit is it's a style of fighting that I really enjoy. Some people find it hard to pick up, but once you get some training in it, it's great. Especially if you can use this with a stick in the offhand or a dagger style in the offhand. Really does well for those draw cuts. I've used this knife quite a bit, and I'll tell you, I thought it was going to be a junk throwaway. Really did. And so I've been pleasantly surprised for the money. So liner lock here, right in the front here, liner lock, and spring assist. So I must admit, don't like spring assist knives. I have had this one pop open in my pocket a couple times. Not a pleasant experience having to dig that back out. So I kind of wish they'd make this maybe in a non-Speedster model, and maybe they do. I haven't bought a ton of Tac-Force knives. It does come out real fast. There's no doubt about it that it's real quick. But there's plenty of knives that come out just as fast without a spring. So having said that, it's got a decent texture to it. It's not bad. And let's see how well the edges held up. Like I said, I prefer, everybody's watched my videos before knows, slow and steady is how you test a blade, and it's not horrible. It actually, surprisingly enough, for a factory edge that I have abused slightly, is pretty good. Are they all going to be this way? I'd be willing to bet no. You don't know what you're going to get for, quality control out of those places, but what is this knife really made for? That stab in and draw cuts. And that's how we fight with these, is you're going to do those stab and draws, and it has a nice tip. It really is a nice tip, and it bites in well. So again, I'm pleasantly surprised for the quality of this knife. For a good training Karambit, it would be a good training Karambit, but it is very sharp, and the chances of cutting yourself, if you're inexperienced, I'd be very careful. But having said that, it is an open back. It is a three-post spine, right, that holds the grip together. It has the metal liners, and I can't say not to go buy one of these. If you want to try Karambit and don't want to spend a lot of money, can't hurt to have one of these. Most of us can scrape together an extra 10, 15 bucks and have a spare Karambit. You may want to try that Karambit style of fighting. I recommend getting some training. A lot more schools are popping up teaching Karambit style fighting, and I recommend getting some training. There's a if you're gonna try and pick some stuff up on YouTube, there's a great YouTube channel named Wampire. He really is a heck of a fighter and does a lot of knife and stick fighting, and it'd be good to follow up with some hands-on professional training too. But having said that, I don't mind this knife. It's held up well. When I first got it, I kind of tried to break it, because I didn't think it was going to last. And surprisingly enough, there is next to no blade movement at all, front or back, side to side, and it does lock up fairly well. If you can see, the blade sits, let me get my hand out of the back there, the blade sits fairly in the middle, and it works out well. I do like the front of here as a pain compliance tool. I'm a big fan of the pressure point techniques, you know, and having the front of that point there isn't a bad idea. Now, obviously, if you were going to use this rear point, which is an option, you do have to have your hand firmly over the front of the blade, otherwise the blade will pop open on you. But I'll show you some, you know, kind of up close of the knife, and I'll leave you to, you know, leave that judgment to yourself. But for that sub $15, I think I want to try a Karambit, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'd buy another one. Like I said, is that jimping along the spine, and that's good in both. You know, you can just put it in a standard grip, put it in a reverse grip. But to be honest with you, you know, people don't usually think of Karambit as a tool, but as a box cutter, cutting tape, cutting open boxes, this tip works just phenomenal, you know. And again, it's a pretty sharp knife out of the box, you know. It's that mystery carbon steel. I can't tell you what it is. You know, I'm not a metallurgist to begin with, but I gotta say, it does cut well, and I'd like to see what it would do with putting it to the strop and really getting it razor honed. I'd like to see how long the edge will hold up. But to be honest with you, Karambit's not meant as a work knife. It's not meant as an EDC knife. It is meant as a fighting knife, and that's what we train with them for, and that's what we use them for. But I'm just throwing it out there. Don't discount this one. You know, for the money you're going to spend, you can, you know, cut boxes and tape and all day long, and if you don't feel like sharpening it, well, you can go buy a new one. So again, this has been Calvin from PoorManSurvival.com. Thank you for checking out a video. Please check us out on Facebook and Twitter and Google+. We're on just about all the social medias now, and we look forward to making a lot of more good videos. Thank you and have a nice day.